All right, going live in three, two, one. Well, this is TNZ episode number 19. I got Tina on with me this evening. Hi, Tina. Excuse me.
19. 19. Oof.
19.
Please excuse the ambulance that's flying outside of my house right now.
As long as it's nothing like that's affecting you or a family member or something.
I'm okay. My
Okay.
family's fine. Everyone is good here.
Before we go too much further, there's a feature I discovered that's on StreamYard that I'd like to show you, which is I thought we'd wait till we go live so you get your honest, spontaneous response to this. So whenever someone leaves a comment, I was hoping someone would leave a comment. Unfortunately, they did not. They did not so far. So I'm leaving a comment. Whenever someone leaves a comment, we can bring it up on the screen there.
Oh, I like it.
So if anyone who wants to leave a comment, go ahead and we can always bring it up and we can show it. It's a real simple process. All I have to do is just click on the comment and it comes right up. So I just did it the other night and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. So,
yeah, interact with us.
Mm-hmm. So aside from the ambulance, anything going on in the world of Tina?
I don't know if I mentioned this, but I got a new job temporarily. It's part-time. And come up to me at Costco and I'll be handing out samples to you.
Oh, interesting. What kind of samples are you handing out?
Well, the last few days it's been I trail mixed today. I had caramel pieces a few days ago, like candy caramels, cheese, cereal, popcorn, like a mixture of caramel and cheese popcorn. It's all over the place. So who knows what I'm going to have next time I go in.
Wow, this sounds kind of tasty. Do you sample it yourself, or do you withhold on that?
It depends. They do encourage us to try things, which is nice, but it's really weird being in a setting that's supposed to be like sanitary and I'm eating things. So that's kind of difficult for me to overcome and really do that, just because I don't want to take my gloves off and eat and then I gotta like sanitize my hands, put my gloves back on. And I don't like trail mix. But yeah, when I was on cheese, there was a lot of that cheese missing that should have been there because I was eating it all.
Before I went on the special diet I'm on, I'd probably be eating a lot of it. I was notorious for bringing in a lot of like the food that's like what you're describing there, like snack food, and people would always wonder how I could eat so much and not at the time not gain any weight. Actually, I put on a lot of weight towards the end before I switched to my diet. So, but for a long time I could eat a whole bunch of junk type food and just not put on any weight. And I know if I was doing what you were doing, half the stuff would be gone before my shift was done. It'd be by me for sure. So
yeah, that was me pre-COVID. Is like, oh, I just eat junk food. And I was like, everyone's like, oh, you don't change at all. Now I gotta change up my eating bad. It's getting bad. Yeah, it's noticeable. So I mean, like, everybody notices their own bodies like differently, but like I definitely need to something's gotta change and it's gotta change fast. And I know it starts with my diet. So I will be joining you on a new diet.
Well, I can tell you that I'd eaten so much junk food that my metabolism changed. I put on, I don't know if I've ever said this. I got up to 225, and I'm about 5'8". And after I started my diet, I went down to my high school weight, which is less than 149. So.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's like shed.
Yeah. And the funny part is I didn't even realize I lost the weight. The only thing I noticed was my belt buckle. I just had to keep on tightening my belt buckle. I didn't feel the difference though, for some reason. So a lot of people ask, when you lose like close to 80 pounds, what's it feel like? I said, I didn't know. It was so, I don't know. I just didn't notice. I just didn't realize it was gone. It was really bizarre. So.
Well, that's good though, because like that's a dramatic change and it could affect people really differently. It seems like you had a really good experience with that though.
Well, yeah. But I had like health issues I had to go through, unfortunately. So yeah, that's the downside of it. It wasn't by choice I had to change my diet. I changed it because I had certain things I did. But it wasn't really good. That's all. I won't get into much details there. But yeah, but the diet itself, yeah, it was pretty good. I guess you could say. So
Yeah, and I mean, it's for even if it's like the best reasons or the worst reasons, so many people can't make that change, or if they do, it's such a difficult adjustment. So good for you for figuring that out and being able to do it. And I hope that you're, happier and healthier and feeling good.
well,
So that's like the best thing.
yeah. And the funny part is, I was actually thinking about doing some working out before I lost the weight, and then it was like I was so lazy I didn't do any of the workouts, and eventually I just lost the weight anyway because I just changed the diet. So I remember reading beforehand that somewhere that someone said, yeah, the majority of the weight loss is just diet, not necessarily working out. So, and
Yeah.
I believe that. So,
Yeah. And I think you're right. And 2 thumbs up for you.
thank you. So let's look at our question from last week. It looks like we got a relatively, hold on a second, decent response here. Was would you be willing to put your life on the line for $38 million USD? Let's see. What's that? I just, you know what? I was looking at a screen here. Now my eyes are kind of like, you ever looked at something, you get like a whiteout, like you're looking at something like part of it's blacked and part of it's whitened out. I'm getting that right now.
Yeah.
So my eyes are
I can
adjusting.
read it. Would you be willing to put your life on the line for $38 million USD? Yes. At 1.8K votes, yes, 70%. No, 16%. And 14% said maybe, but only if they were desperate enough.
Hmm. So that's
So that's
interesting.
84% that would do it or would be, consider it. So, wow.
Yeah. And of course, we didn't really lay the stakes down as to what kind of, I mean, we kind of do put your life on the line, but I mean, how much of a risk would your life be on the line, I guess is what we're saying.
Yeah,
Is it a major risk? Is it a minor risk? So
that is true.
but
So,
let's take a look at the responses here. We got Kiss Best Fan says make it 38 million and one.
oh man, just just short, just shy of them how much you wanted.
I would do it for $1 million to be a millionaire for a day. Money don't buy love, so my vote is no.
Well said. Yes. I don't know. I feel like $38 million might not get me love, but it'll give me something.
Mm-hmm.
It'll give me something.
Yes, 38. This one says yes, $38 money. So
Wow. Okay. You want to do it for 38 bucks?
they got 3 thumbs up on that one too. So any type of job, yeah, that's what I was saying right there. So yeah, we should have been more descriptive as to what
I
would.
mean, but it's vague. You can fill it in with whatever you want. I mean, what is the money alone enough to make you do it?
Mhm.
That, we're talking about the money, not the risk potentially. But yeah, I mean that would definitely like clarify it for some people. I agree.
We got hello from Kuan. I'm not sure how to pronounce your name. Sorry. Also left another comment saying so do Brazil. Maybe he's saying I'm sorry. Hope you're saying you're from Brazil. Sorry, I don't know what you're saying there. So
Well, thanks for watching.
there you go. So let's see. I wish we could bring these comments up on the screen. That'd be nice.
Yeah, that would be nice.
I hope this is not a voluntary recruitment. Comes from I can't read the name. Now that I know the concept of Squid Game, hell no.
There's where we were. There's where we're at. And it's it's funny to see someone who like watched it and responded with that, but I was hoping maybe someone would say yes, but I don't blame them because I wouldn't either.
It says I would do it for $380. Another low dollar amounts.
Wow.
Everyone picked no. What does it say? Everyone picked no. Oh, everyone picked no is a liar. Okay, so everyone who picked no, he's saying is a liar. I got it. It depends on what I would have to do, though. To replies, you don't have to into a electric socket. PP. Let's see. And then it says, "Sign me up." I know how to do that and avoid destroying my thingy and getting electrocuted. There we go.
This is a very risky game we're playing here.
Yes.
People get drunk and do that stuff for no money.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that, guys.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm not going to.
I'm not going to. I think they were trying to say, I'm not going to Squid Game my life.
Oh, Squid Game. Okay. Okay. Gotcha. I was a firefighter for 30 years and never saw that kind of money.
That is someone who definitely put their life on the line
Very much.
repeatedly. So thank you for that service.
Question. I guess it's a question. Why?
Why not?
We got hell no. And I can't see what it says on there. Does it say? I don't know.
They're just letters.
I'm not going to engage in something that is outside my limitations.
YOLO is cringe. You only live once.
Oh, okay. YOLO, that's right. Yeah. Okay. Was it you that told me what YOLO meant?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so because I didn't know what that meant before. So is that common? Has that been around for a while? I hate to sound so ignorant on certain.
That was we read that one the first time. Oh, you mean a YOLO the phrase?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, has that been around for a while, or is that something more recent? I don't feel so left out.
Do you want the truth or the half truth?
Whatever you feel like saying. I guess the truth would be good.
I think people in my high school said it, and that was like 2010, 2011, maybe.
Okay.
YOLO. I think people said that in my high school. Yeah, that's what I think. I think some pop culture fanatic can correct me on that for sure.
Again, I'll go ahead and bring it up. He said, "I love your videos." Cool. I hope you mean all the videos,
Aww.
including Tina's videos too. So thanks.
I hope so.
Cool. I'm sure he did. So okay, so you have a question for our audience for this week?
Yes, in honor of our mini series today, Battlestar Galactica, a 3-part mini series. We watched all 3 parts.
Actually, it's 2 parts.
Oh, it is 2 parts? Okay. I thought
Yeah.
it was 3. Would you live your life on a spaceship?
Okay, I'll add Battlestar Galactica too.
Yeah. I'm wondering if you want to help me flesh this out a little more.
Okay.
Battlestar Galactica is like a military ship, right? It's like a military vessel.
Mm-hmm.
But there's got to be other things happening on this ship. You know, for example, somebody's got to do the laundry. Somebody's got to cook the food. Maybe I would want to know, if you were on a spaceship of any sort, what role would you want to have? Would you want to, you know what I'm saying? Like if you had to be on a spaceship, would you want to be a chef, a janitor? Would you want to, but I don't know any other like duties. Do you have any thoughts on that, or?
Yeah. What would you how would you phrase that? What position would you like to have, or how would you phrase that? What role would you like to play, or I don't know. That makes it sound like it's a game or something. How would you phrase that exactly first?
Like what job would you have on board?
Yeah, that's good. I like that. What job would you have? Is on board one word or 2?
I think it's just one.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
We can put like examples: cook, janitor, Let's see what else is there. Common there.
I'm thinking cook, janitor. Maybe be responsible for like housekeeping,
That'd be kind of, I guess, janitor. Wouldn't that be? I guess that's different. Okay.
like laundry attendant.
Yeah, there you go. So basically, you're looking at all the is that that? There you go.
Yeah.
Is that you're basically looking at all the what would be referred to as civilian jobs, the essentially, is that right?
Yeah, yes, civilian jobs. Very good way of putting it. Because I don't know enough about military or space life to know what type of official jobs, but there's got to be a lot of other things happening that you don't see on these ships.
Gotcha. My parents were both in the military, but they didn't really. The way they talk about it, they really hated it. So, um,
Really?
yeah,
Wow.
they were. My dad was in for like 4 years. My mother was in for like 3 years. That's where they met actually too.
Oh. So are you a military brat
No, I was born after they got out. So
after?
yeah. But they. In fact, when I told my mother, I was thinking, I would never do this nowadays, but when I was younger, I was thinking about joining the military, and she kept on saying, "No, you shouldn't do that. No, 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 don't do that." So when I was a child, that's how much she couldn't stand the military. So
Yeah, they really pressure you. But I bet you if the military was on a spaceship, it would be a lot different. Like it would be more enticing.
yeah, well, we got the Space Force now.
That is true. We do have a space military.
So, and I always forget that that exists whenever. But you were bringing this up. I just remember that. Of course, I'm not sure if they're going in. I don't think they're going into space as of yet. So, but but it's interesting. Okay, I'm trying to think of other civilian job. Cook, janitor, laundry attendant. Uh, I'm not. We could just say leave your choice or something. How's that?
Yes.
Okay, so this is a two-part question. Okay. Would you? Wait. Based on would you? There's a question. How would you live in your life? Okay. Okay, so we could actually put how should this got a little complicated. It was how would you live your life? Was it, did I leave the word how? How would you live your life?
Yeah. How would you live your life on a spaceship? Maybe say something because you do have to acknowledge on a spaceship that there are going to be people who need to protect the ship. So we could start off with um like I would well, how would you live your life? Maybe like defense, like defending the ship.
Okay. Defending the ship. Okay.
Um
Let's see. Hmm,
we have 5 options, right?
yeah.
Okay.
Defending the ship. Maybe being a fighter pilot. Uh,
We could do fighter pilot on as defending the ship. Let's just switch that to fighter pilot.
okay. Okay.
Um,
Let's see. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think. Would you live your life?
maybe
Command,
like
being
yeah,
command position, being in command. How about that? Or being in a command position or so. I think that would.
yeah, like command position.
Okay. Let's see.
Maybe
Just
like a soldier or
okay. I was gonna say, would you just be a grunt, which is like the
yeah, a grunt. I like that.
yeah.
I have one. Avoiding responsibility and risk.
And risk. Okay.
Yeah, like you're just trying to sneak away and not be noticed.
Let's see. Okay. You have another one?
And maybe that's a good space for like civilian job.
Oh, good one. Okay. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, like we'll just put like I don't want to do any of those. I want to be a regular person.
I misspelled responsibility. There you go. Okay. I'm sorry. How would you phrase this? Having a civilian job? How would
Yeah. Like
okay. Having a civilian job. I probably spelled that one right. Let's see.
yep,
Give me a second here. Okay, cool. Alrighty.
I like that.
How would you live your life on a spaceship? What job would you have on board? Cook, janitor, laundry. Okay. All right. Okay, ready?
Yep. I like that.
There we go. Cool. All right. So we can come back to that one. All righty. So yeah, so the show for tonight was it was the miniseries Battlestar Galactica, and it was originally a two-part episode. I think you said three because it was maybe 3 hours long, the whole thing.
Yeah.
I think that's why you said that. Yeah, so it's not a
Yep.
big deal. But yeah, this is based on the original TV show called Battlestar Galactica, which was also a movie, then a TV series back in 1978. So, and it was the show was written headed up by Ronald D. Moore, and he was before this he was known for doing a lot of Star Trek: The Next Generation and Star Trek: Deep Space Nine episodes, and then he was brought on board to do this. And from what I've watched lots of videos about him, he said that he and David Icke, who was was an executive producer. They were the two that headed up the whole operation. Basically, the two of them were big fans of the original show. And if you've ever, I know you've not watched either before this, you had never seen anything, correct? Is that right?
Yeah, correct.
So both of them were big fans of the original show from 1978. And I'd watched it when I was a kid. I wasn't a big fan, but I liked it. And so watching this and having seen the original show, it was very obvious that the miniseries, then the first season, and most of the second season was definitely based. They were very much trying to keep true to the original show. And then what happened was the original show got canceled. Then they brought it back as another show called Galactica 80, and everyone pretty much ignores that show because it wasn't done very well. So they ignored that show altogether. And but after the second season, I'm kind of jumping ahead now, but after the second season, they took over and they started doing their own episodes, and the show, in my opinion, just wasn't as good anymore. So, and by the fourth season, it was just complete garbage for me. So, but the miniseries, which what we're talking about tonight, I did not expect it to be as good as it was. I just thought it was going to be a remake of the original show, and when it was on, I did not have cable at the time. I asked my dad to record it for me. So he recorded it and gave me the VHS tape, and I was surprised how good it was. And I ended up watching the same tape like 4 or 5 times because I thought it was so good. I usually don't watch a show that much. So, and the basic premise is similar to that of almost identical to the original show. The 12 colonies of Capricorn. Oh, there's 12 colonies, Capricorn being one of them, and Sagittarius. I don't forget all the other names, but they're attacked by the Cylons. The Cylons nearly wipe everyone out, and they basically form a ragtag fleet of ships. And then Battlestar Galactica is the ship that leads them on their journey to find Earth. That's the basic premise of the show, and that's the original premise of the original show as well. So the one thing that I will say in this one, they kind of left Earth out until the very, very end of the show. And was that how did you feel when that came up? Was that kind of like a twist ending for you? How did that come up to you?
Yeah, it was a twist because you're watching the show. I'm thinking, how are they going to resolve all of this in 30 minutes? Like there was so much setup, and I was like, okay, this is, really good. Like we've got the Cylons, the drama of everybody, the dad and son issue. There's a female president now, and people aren't listening to her, but she actually is in charge. And then they're like, oh, by the way, we're going to Earth. And I was like, what? Earth is the destination? Because everyone in this, there's only like a handful of people left. These people are, some of the last people of their race. They have to rebuild humanity with these people. And then they're like, we're going to Earth. And I was like, where I am right now? You're coming to Earth? Like, what? I'm already here. I thought it was a twist. I didn't know if it was meant to be a twist.
So when you watch this, since you haven't seen, because it's interesting to hear a perspective like this. Because when you first saw this, did you think they were already from Earth, or did you think it was like the future, or what did you think?
What I thought, so obviously they're humans, and I didn't think they were aliens to us, but I did think that Earth. They didn't mention anything about Earth, so I thought Earth was just destroyed, or they had to escape Earth, and they made these 12 colonies after leaving Earth, because they never said anything about their origins. They just said we're from Caprica. And I was like, okay, well, Earth being, we're all from Earth. So I was like, they're just not going to talk about Earth, I guess. But when they finally drop it, it's like, whoa, we're special. This is the final destination. It's like, I didn't even, like, I thought about it in the beginning, but I was like, okay, like, whatever. There's so much sci-fi that doesn't take place in Earth or doesn't involve Earth, or Earth is destroyed and that's why they're somewhere else now. I thought it was something like that.
Gotcha. The and the interesting thing, I'm going to make references to the original show, which obviously you have not seen, but
Sure.
what they did was they took the concept from the original show and they removed the campiness of the first show. So a lot of this stuff that would be kind of silly was removed, and they made it very dark. And obviously, this came out 2 years after the World Trade Center came down, so you can tell that
Yes.
that was very much in the minds of the people when they wrote this. So it's very much more dark than it.
Yes. And that's actually something I did want to point out too, is that, like, I noticed it was from 2003, but it's very like, we're being attacked. We have to respond. We're being threatened by people, this foreign species, this foreign thing. And like, it was definitely reactive like that. And yeah, that's interesting though. I thought, like, I didn't know if I was meant to pick up on that, but it seems like I was.
Right. And there's some historical references that are made in this as well. The other like the when the silent attack is first mentioned, Commander Adama is on the ship and he gets a call from his communications officer, which is Gata. Gata says to him, he reads a message and it just simply reads something to the effect that silent attack underway. This is not a drill. You remember that?
Hmm.
Very simple. That's based on an actual historical account of what happened during Pearl Harbor. When Pearl Harbor was attacked in 1941, the naval ships were left a message saying, Pearl Harbor is under attack. This is not a drill. Something like that.
Oh, so it was like a direct reference.
Yeah. They were
Okay.
trying to make real references. Another direct reference was when President Rosalind, before she became president, as she was being sworn in, this scene right here, we're almost there. The scene where she's being sworn in, she has her hand up right there. This is actually taken from when Lyndon B. Johnson was sworn in as president when Kennedy was assassinated. So
Oh, so there is a lot of like Earth political references here that are not Capricorn, like real Earthling references.
yeah, and when they there's what the theme of the show throughout the entire, well, especially through the TV series, is that things have happened before and it's going to happen again. That's there's a constant message that's said throughout the entire series. So,
Okay.
and it's not really stated that much in the miniseries, but it is in the series as it progresses, the TV series. So, and when they made this scene, what was kind of interesting is I've listened to the DVD commentary. They actually had the photograph. There's a famous photograph of Lyndon B. Johnson taking the oath, and they actually had that on set so they can make it look just like that photograph. That's where when he's taking the oath, so she can pose just like Lyndon B. Johnson did. So. Now, the characters that are in this, Commander Adama and Rosalind, Laura Rosalind, they're both based on, in the original show, there was no Rosalind character. It was just Commander Adama, and everybody followed his orders to the letter. No one questioned what he had to say. It was played by Lauren Green, and they felt that was kind of like weird. There's just one man taking. So what they did was they divided his character into two characters. They have Adama, and then Rosalind is the authoritative part of like another part of what the original character was. So his character was divided into two for this particular series. So Rosalind I thought was a good addition to this show. James Edward Olmos plays Adama, and I forgot what's the woman's name that plays Rosalind. She's also a famous actor.
Mary Mcdonald.
Mary Mcdonald, yes. Yeah, the interesting about the two of them is that when they were going through names, the first choice they wanted for these two characters were those two actors, and they were surprised to actually get them on board to play those roles. So usually when they look for actors, they're like, the funny part is, though, I think they said something to the effect that they wanted someone that was like James Edward Olmos to play Adama, and they ended up getting the actual actor instead of just someone that was like him. They actually got him. So, and they were surprised to get Mary Mcdonald. Mary Mcdonald's been in other things. She's been in like Dances with Wolves. She's also been in she was in a movie called Sneakers. I can't remember all the other movies off the top of my head, but I think she does a very good job in this. So the other characters, the Baltar, here we go, Dr. Baltar. Dr. Baltar he has a more of a comical edge to him in some ways. The way I'm trying to bring his character up here so we can look at him in a second. There he is. There we go. Oh, I can't. You can see him right there. There we go. Right there. Finally got him. So there's Baltar right there. In the original show, Baltar was a very conniving, very evil person. You know, it was very obvious that he was the bad guy, and he was always evil. And he actually was trying to kill off all the humans in the show. He was actually siding with the Cylons in that one. So in this one, they decided to take a different twist and make Baltar more of he was in both of the new and the old. He was responsible for the annihilation of the people of the colonies in some way, shape, or form, because he was responsible for giving away the codes in this one, and similar in the other one. But this one, he just becomes a regular character that's part of the fleet, and the whole thing with the six android. Did they identify her, the woman that's in his head? Did they call her? I can't remember in the series. I know that later on they call her 6. Is she called number 6 in this?
I can't remember.
Okay, I know in the TV series when the show comes on, they eventually just call her number 6 because there are 12 Cylon models altogether, and she's number 6 out of all the 12 models, and there's multiple versions of each one. So eventually they call her number 6. Eventually, because she's in his head, they call her the head 6. So just to differentiate her from other 6s that appear in the show. So, but before I go any further, the woman that's standing right up here in the background, this is like a little bit of trivia. That's James Edward Olmos's real wife in real life. So she got a little cameo appearance in there. So
that's fun when they do that.
And eventually, his son actually becomes a regular character on the show as well. He plays one of the fighter pilots that eventually comes on, but not in the miniseries. So, the woman that plays 6, Tricia Helfer, I think is her name, right? Yeah, Tricia Helfer. Before she came on, there she is, right there. She was not an actor. She was just like a model, and they were highly concerned with the idea of bringing on a model to play such a prominent role in the show. And when the executives higher up saw how good she was in this episode, they made her the primary focus of the display work, like the artwork for the show, because they wanted to show how. And she was really good. She was really good in this.
Yeah, I thought she did a great job, and she was just really convincing. She was just very convincing.
Yeah, and as the show progresses, there's one episode where she plays she jumps around and she plays another character, and my dad and I were watching the show and we were talking about both of us said when we first saw her jump to this other character, she was so good at changing to a different character. We didn't even realize it was her at first. We thought it was another actor that came on the screen because she had changed and done such a tremendous job of changing, and her look, her appearance, her way she conveyed herself. And she's a tremendous actor, a really good actor in this. And I've never seen her in anything else, but it's very obvious that she was it was a very good pick for the position. So there is a bit of trivia right here. Since I stopped here, when he reads this speech, which is a very moving speech about how humanity needs to, how did he put that? We can't run away from what the actions we've done. We need to pay for our sins. I can't remember exactly how he worded it exactly.
Yeah, because that was coming right off the heels of like his other son died.
Yes.
So that was like very top of mind.
Mm-hmm. And in the original show, like I said, this is a rewrite. What they did was they took and explored things. The whole thing with the son dying in the original show, he died off real quickly. He was just shot down by a Cylon radar, and that was it. You never heard from him again. This one, they actually have an entire episode devoted to why the son died, how he died, and it's actually done really well. I mean, they really broke it down pretty well. It's like they took the stuff from the original show and gave it really in-depth stories. I'm trying to say how to describe that. An in-depth way of describing how each character evolved. Whereas the original, just taking the original, just expanding upon it in a much better way, in my opinion. So, but you do hear the son is talked about here, but eventually you actually get to see the son. You get to see how much of an influence he had on all the main characters and everything before he died, and it's done very well. So, the one thing I wanted to say, it's real minor, but there's a song that's playing in the background when the fighter jets fly overhead, the fighter craft. The song that's playing in the background is the theme from the original TV show. So it's so if it's the only time, one of the few times you actually hear the original theme song in this. Let's see. Was there anything in particular that stood out for you?
I thought the like different scenes were interesting, like when in this scene actually where they're going through and they have some room on their ship after they ended up like emergency crashing, so all these civilians want room, want to board this ship. So then they say, okay, well, we'll bring on the kids and then we'll pick random numbers for whatever room we have left for adults. And Gaius gets picked because, one of the pilots gives up their spot for this genius of a man that caused all of this. But that was compelling too, because that's kind of what spurred my question of like, what would you do in this life on ship where it's like, these people are now going to, like, they're regular people and they're going to be like living this life on board. You know what I mean? Like all of these people have like, well, a lot of them are going to be left behind and they're going to die. That's the truth. But some of these people, have like a new lease on life, but they have to like be a part of this like spaceship culture. So that was kind of interesting.
How did you feel about this scene, though? The moral aspect of it, when he's looking at her, you can tell he's thinking. The older woman is asking him, "What does the number say?" And he realizes it's the number that they're calling. And you're thinking, is he gonna actually take her spot?
Right? Yeah, and he's honest because he spends a lot of the show fighting with the guilt of like, I know I did this to everybody, obviously not intentionally. Do I look after myself now, or do I try to do the righteous thing and just, deal with the consequences? He's just not, the show starts, he's obviously like a ladies' man type of guy. In the show, he cheats on a woman in the show. So like, he's kind of a slimy guy. So I really did think he was going to take that ticket and say like, oh, this is mine, I get to go. But I think he was scared in that moment where they noticed him just by being Gaius.
Well, the thing is that you never find out what he would have done though, because they
Right. Yeah. Right. I think he would have, but you don't know. But I think he got scared when they recognized him for who he was. Had they not done that, I think he would have done it. But you really never know.
Right. And the funny part is, this is actually I didn't catch this, but the people who made the show, if you can see the closed captioning there. It's the woman says, "Excuse me, I forgot my glasses." I must have left them somewhere. The funny part is the people who made the show during the DVD commentary point out, and I'm trying to cue it up here. You can see she's wearing them on her head.
I didn't even notice that because they're so thin and like her hair's blonde and wiry. That's hilarious. That's really funny.
And it was funny because it was the people that made the show that pointed that out. So,
yeah, I would have never caught that. Wow.
So this character here, Hilo, they love. I'm giving part of this away a little, but the character Hilo, the one that recognizes Baltar, they liked him so much that he does not just. Well, I'm kind of giving it away. He doesn't die, by the way. So he's not one of the people that dies on the planet. He actually survives, but that's not revealed until the show, the series begins, the regular series. But
yay!
So, and then of course we had Sharon here, who turns out she's actually a Cylon. So
that was a huge thing at the end. Oh my god, I was shocked. You're talking about like twist endings. That was a huge one.
Right.
That was big. That was big.
As the show progresses, of course they say there's 12 models. They eventually reveal 11 of the models. I forget why. One of them they never actually divulge, and I'm not going to give anything away. Let me just say I didn't like the choices they made as to how they revealed who the other models were in the show. So it progresses in a weird way, and that's one of the reasons why I don't like the 4th season very much of this show. So the scenes that were on the air, what they eventually called, what did they call it? I know it's modeled after Air Force One. It wasn't called Air Force One. Whatever the ship is, I should know. I can't remember what it's called. Anyway, the scenes on here are modeled after scenes from 2001: A Space Odyssey. So they modeled the ships after that. And also the gun. Getting back to this scene right here, where he fires this gun, and it fires like a little rocket projectile, not like a bullet, but like a. They took that from the movie Blade Runner. So, and the reason they did that was because James Edward Olmos was a main character in Blade Runner. He was one of the main characters in that movie. So
nice.
So that was why it was like a tribute to that aspect of it. Like this guy right here, when he gets shot, you'll see it like it fires like a little tiny rocket. I'm trying to keep it from kick. Like that, yeah, that little thing.
Yeah, right, that was shocking too. I was like, "Oh my god, you're gonna kill the guy! You're gonna shoot him on screen." I wasn't ready for that.
Yeah. So, now as far as the way the show is put together, I said that obviously this was made based. They took all the campiness away from the original show. They also broke it down to the point where the science fiction in the show is kept to a very bare minimum. There's the science fiction elements are there only to where they're needed. So basically everything else is like what you and I would experience in our world. So they have the same kind of modern conveniences that we have. Other than that, like the science fiction elements, like the Cylons, they're science fiction. They're kind of fantasy. They're getting into more unrealistic aspects. The fact that they can go faster than light, that's also something that's not real, but they needed that. The fact they have artificial gravity on the ships, the fact they have all these spaceships, they kept that to a bare minimum. Everything else is they tried to keep the show grounded in reality. So if you notice, they don't have laser guns in this show at all. It's all guns and bullets. So if you see, whenever they're firing their guns in space, those are actually bullets that they're firing. Those are not laser blasts. So no lasers at all. It's all bullets, all ammunition. They try to make everything as more grounded in reality as possible. Other things they tried to do with the sound. Like when they're in space, you can hardly hear anything. Originally, they were going to make it complete silence because there's no sound in space, but they realized it would be kind of weird to have complete silence. So what they did is they kept the sound as minimal as possible whenever they show the outer space, the scenes from outer space. So, the one of the campy things that they like, I can give you an example of how the original show is kind of campy. In the original movie, when the colonies are destroyed, the first half of the movie is them getting to all the fleets, all the people together, and the second half of the movie is them going to a disco planet and having some sort of weird adventure on that disco planet, and it's an entire planet. So as you can tell, they did away with the disco planet part of it. So
A good change. It sounds fun. So when did that disco episode come out though?
well, that was part of the original movie. That was part of the original movie.
Right.
So that was 1978. So the original movie was the first half was them being attacked by the Cylons. The second half was them going to a disco planet. So
like literally disco era.
Yes, and there was it was a planet that was basically a resort, and it was disco music playing, and all the people were dancing, and they had an adventure on the planet, and they had to escape from the planet.
I can understand why that wouldn't fit in a post 9/11 like space drama. Disco Planet just does not have a place here.
No. And I will say this: the show is obviously very, very dark, and the first few episodes after this are even darker. The show actually begins like the first few episodes. They have a wall of all the people who died, very similar to the wall of all the pictures when people died at the World Trade Center, and people are constantly going there and mourning the losses of all the people they love. And they let you know how many people are still alive at the beginning of every episode. They have a tally of how many people are still alive. So,
oh wow,
I think they start off with just over 50,000, and the number keeps on decreasing and as the show progresses. So,
oh my god, that's really, really grim.
So I will say as the show progresses, it gets a little bit lighter, but the first season was definitely, they tried to maintain that very dark attitude. You know, this is very dire. This is very much, we're barely surviving. You know, we're constantly on the run. The other thing that was removed from this is aliens. There are no aliens in this series. So everybody is just human. And when they go to other planets, they never encounter any aliens. And James Edward almost said he didn't want to be on a show where there were aliens. He wanted no aliens. They didn't do it because of that. They just did it because they wanted to do that. He just emphasized that he wasn't going to be on the show if there were a bunch of aliens, like an alien of the week or something. So in the original show, they would meet aliens and different things. There were no aliens in this one. So the one thing that because of that, they had to change the concept of the Cylons. In this show, the Cylons were created by humans. In the original show, they were created by an alien race that were called the Cylons, and the Cylons took over and killed the people, the beings that created them, and then attacked the colonies. But because there are no aliens, they had to take that part out and say they were created by humans. So,
my god, well that's crazier. That would have been a really interesting addition, but that also opens like, oh, there's other, beings that have life or whatever, like in this universe, which would warrant like examination through the show. But
in fact, the original show was very much similar to, I assume you've seen the Star Wars movies. Have you seen Star Wars? Yeah. No? Okay. Never mind. I was going to say if you see it, because in Star Wars, they have lots of aliens. It was similar in such a way that George Lucas, who created Star Wars, actually sued the creators of the original Battlestar Galactica because it was so similar in some ways. I don't remember what the outcome was, but I believe there was some sort of settlement afterwards. So
wow.
But this one's clearly not like Star Wars. It really is not. So the drama. The other thing is like they're wearing contemporary clothing. The uniforms that the military uniforms are kept they're not really flashy. Though I will say the uniforms in the original show were not flashy either. They actually looked pretty contemporary. They didn't look that, but the civilian clothes were kind of, flashy looking. So they were kind of spacey looking. So in this show, everyone's just wearing normal clothing, it's taking place during this time period. Oh, this is another. Oh, this one's a very good one. I'm glad we have here. The little girl. Okay.
Hmm.
This scene is also based, I believe, I could be wrong. I hope I'm right on this. Is based on the Daisy commercial from 1964 with Lyndon B. Johnson and Barry Goldwater. You familiar with that?
I actually do think I know that commercial you're talking about. Like it's like a very dark background.
Well, it shows a little girl. She's sing. I think she's singing Daisy, Daisy or something. And then what happens is she's going. As she goes, she starts counting down like three, two, one, and then all of a sudden she pauses, and then like this deep voice comes on, going three, two, one, and then a nuclear bomb goes off and basically kills her. It's a commercial that took place in 1964.
Oh, and she's like picking the flower
Yeah,
petals.
exactly.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, I believe that's what this reference is about, with her being on board, because they point out the fact that she's not going to survive when the Cylons come, and when
Mm-hmm.
the Cylons do appear, they have to leave, and then they focus on her, and then it just fades to, like, the screen just fades away. So this, yeah, right
Yep.
here, the this scene was, I thought, was one of the most compelling scenes when they realize that they have to leave some of the people behind because they don't have the ability to go faster than light. And the people, they're deciding, they're deciding whether or not they should give them information on how to follow them. And Apollo says no, because if they do, they'll maybe interrogated. They may find out where they are. So they say no, don't tell them anything. And then as the Cylons appear, there's a woman that they right there says, "I can't believe you're going to leave us behind." You can see in the closed
Yeah.
caption.
They're like pleading with them, like, don't do this. Like, please don't.
I know, it's like so dark. It's like really like, wow. It's like I couldn't believe they were doing this in the show. It's like they had to decide who was going to live and who was going to die, and they had no choice, because at that point the Silence were on already there, and they had to leave. There was no way they could save the rest of them. So, and the one line in particular, which is, "I hope you people rot in hell," or something like that. Uh, is it? Let's see. Oh, I'm going to jump ahead here. Yeah, where is it? Yeah, here we go. Well, anyway, this is the whole scene right there. This is where the little girl fades out and everything. There we go. May the Lord's code will protect you, leave behind, and well, anyway, you got it. You see, someone says, "I hope you people rot in hell," or something. So
Yeah.
yeah, something like that. So, but yeah, this was I couldn't believe that this scene really stood out to me. This is one of the scenes when I first saw, I was like, wow, I couldn't believe that they had done this scene right here. Yeah. So, um, let's see. Was there anything else in there that's? Oh, I will say this. Um, the scene where they have the firemen at the beginning, closer to the beginning when they're first attacked. I don't know if this is a reference to the original show or not. There's a scene where they have to blow there was a whole bunch of firefighters in the ship, and they have to Colonel Tice to make the decision whether or not they should uh, if they have to blow they have to pull was it the security lockdown before the fire spreads to the rest of the ship, and they have to blow the everything out in space, and they lose a whole bunch of firefighters. Do you remember that scene?
Yeah.
There's a scene in the original show that happens something similar, and in that one they actually went and saved the firefighters. I'm not sure if it's based on that or not. It may be, because in that one they actually went out of their way to save them. In this one they're trying to show that sometimes they have to sacrifice some people to save the rest. That's what it seemed like to me. So, but the other aspect of it was, apparently when the show came out, a lot of people were complaining they didn't actually get to see the battle. You don't see the actual battle that's you see little remnants of it, and you see during the television broadcast, you see explosions going on in the background, but you don't actually see any battle going on. You don't see the war. You don't see the actual attack. You see some of the nuclear bombs going off, but overall you don't really see very much. And people were complaining about that, and the whole idea was it was to show from a unique point of view what was going on. So you didn't actually they didn't want to show that. They purposely left that out. So
Right. Like as I'm watching, this is so much more about the drama between the people and the decisions they have to make and the choices, like the ramifications of the things they do, versus here's a battle scene, or like here's guns and stuff like that. I feel like this was more tasteful also. and I think that's a good decision. I don't think showing the fighting is necessary, because I don't think the
Mhm.
show is about the fighting.
Right, right. And also, how did you feel about Starbuck, the character Starbuck? Did you like her?
I did. Yeah, I did. I thought she was like the added, like much needed attitude, and kind of like a strong female, tough character. Um, in the show, she says like, "Oh, hey, the reason your brother died was because I passed him on a failing test, and he died being a pilot, and I passed him." And like that was a tough thing to make, like a tough thing to admit, but um I just think it's like a necessary character. And if I had watched more of the, like if I was to continue watching the show, I would want to know like more about her, like who, okay, so she's the tough girl, like who is she though? You know what I mean? Like they couldn't fill every character, and but I did like her. I thought she was entertaining, and you need a sassy girl that can kind of like, you know, cross her arms and be like, "You're not going to tell me what to do."
Right.
So I liked her.
Yeah, the scene at the very end, I thought was done very well. When everything's wrapping up here, there's a scene right here when she's with Ty, and the writers purposely put this scene in here to show, like a lot of times they're trying to get away from the standard trope. I think it's a trope. Whenever they have two characters that are involved, they hate each other, and what they do is they have an external conflict that comes in, and they have to work together and realize, okay, we should be friends after all. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
They
definitely.
purposely had the scene in here to show, no, that's not what's going to happen in this show. They show that she doesn't really care. They had to work together, but she still doesn't like Ty. She doesn't care.
Yeah, like she's not going to back down because that's what's expected, or that because that would make everyone's situation easier. Like she's going to stick to her guns, even if it's makes it tougher for her, even if she, you know, goes to the hole again because she was in jail briefly, like military jail. Um, and I like that. And I think that is just a good component of this show of like, now you've got people who are butting heads, but they're the last of humanity. So what are they going to do?
Hmm.
They're not going to get along. What are
And
they
I
going
don't
to
know
do?
if the just so you know, the original show, Starbuck was actually a male character. So when they made this show, that became it wasn't it wasn't to for like to create this whole sense of diversity at all or anything like that. It was simply because the writers felt it'd be better if the character was female in this one, and I think they did made a good decision.
I
It
do
was
too.
when the show first came out, there was a controversy because a lot of people from the fans of the original show, like, how dare you make him a woman? Not because it's because they wanted the character to remain the same. But I thought I always thought they made a good decision with this. So,
Yeah,
and
I'm sure it's really tough. Like when you have, you know, an actual character that you've watched and you identify that character as that character change, like that can be really tough. And I don't know how I would respond to that, but I hope those people gave it a chance because I think she's a very strong character. I
yeah,
think she really stands out.
the let's see, what was the other part I was going to say? The, the person that plays Apollo, the actual actor who played Apollo in the original show, I when he it's what's his name? I know his name. I can't remember off the top of my head. Anyway, he had actually created a pilot for a Battlestar Galactica show, or not a pilot, but he had written a story idea, and he created a promo, like a 2 minute long pro or 3 minute long promo of what the show could be about. And they decided not to go with it. They decided to go with this instead. But they because he was still heavily involved with the show, they actually gave him a regular part on the show, playing a different character. Richard Hatch, that's what his name, Richard Hatch. Um, so the not this guy, but the guy who played the character Apollo in the original show actually came on to this show eventually and became a regular character. So playing a completely different character, nothing like what he was in the original show. And it was really interesting. because a lot of people that kind of silenced a lot of the people who are like, hey, we don't like from the original show, we don't like this show. But then when they saw Richard Hatch was on board, it's like, oh well, now it's like he was like the main character of the original show. Now he's on this show now. It kind of like shut them up a little bit. So
Wow.
but and he was very. I was glad they brought him on board because the character he played was actually done very well, except for the fourth season. I think the way they did his character in the fourth season was not really good. But then again, I hate the whole fourth season to begin with. So, the and the other part of it, well, it's not really discussed here. One of the things I can't stand is when you have a I need to phrase this carefully. When they have a character who's gay, homosexual in a show, and they try to show the character by like they're waving flags, like saying, look, this character's gay, he's gay. They're waving their flags really high just to say. It's like when I see a gay character, I just want the character. I don't want them to draw attention to it. It's like just make it a normal part of the show. In this show, that's what they did. They acted like being gay was just normal and nobody cared. It wasn't a big deal. Gaeta, who's in this show, is actually a homosexual character. So it's established later on in the show, but they don't make a big deal of it. It's like, okay, it's not whatever. It's like he has a boyfriend or whatever. It's like no big deal. They don't make a big deal of it. It's just like a regular thing. And that's what I'm bringing it up because it's like I've seen it be. Like I said, sometimes a show will have a gay character and it's just like they're like trying to draw attention to it, just like almost applauding themselves or saying, look, we have a gay character on the show. It's like, why? Who cares? Just treat them like a normal person. And that's what they did with his character. It was just nobody, you didn't even realize he was gay. You saw he had a boyfriend or whatever, but it wasn't a big deal. So
yeah, it's like you could do it that way as like, oh, like virtue signaling of like, hey, we are doing something different, like we're doing it the right way. Or you could be doing it like, hey, we're gonna like make fun of this character, and make him like goofy or like a real character of an average typical gay man. And I really like how it was done here. I didn't make that connection even, so
it's not
well done, yeah, like well done there because I didn't catch it. But it's like, as like we go through the show, like it is a very tastefully done, respectable, not, they don't take any of those opportunities where they could turn it around and make it like gimmicky or a joke or, I mean, even offensive. They don't go down those paths. So that is really refreshing as a viewer, especially in 2003. I mean, gay marriage was not a thing, like in many parts of the country. Even, I don't know, it's hard for me to even remember. Like, gay marriage was not legal at this time.
That's true.
So like that is a big deal that they projected it as something very normal and very
not not a big deal. Just
not even really at all. Like it was just natural, and it is natural, obviously. But like, good for them for taking the high mature road on that, because they could have gone any direction with that, and it seems like they went the right way. So good for them.
They eventually introduced two other gay characters in the show, and they treat it the same way. It's like it's not even a big deal. It's like, so another show that did the same thing was the TV show Lost. They also introduced a gay character. It was like no big deal. It's like, okay, that's cool. And he was one of the semi-reoccurring characters too. So, and
wow.
So this show and that show were two of my favorite shows. So it's like I noticed it, but it was so subtle. I was like, oh, okay, whatever. I was just glad to see that they did it in such a nice way. The other thing I wanted to talk about with Six here, like I said, eventually her character is referred to as Head Six. Did you like the idea about how they floated? I think they floated in this, is that whether or not this is a chip in his head, or maybe if it's his own consciousness coming back to him, like maybe he's talking to himself.
Yeah, they did toy with that idea, and she's like, how do you know what's real? You don't know what's real. And then they would do stuff like, it would be as if he was talking to her, but then someone else would approach him, and then she'd be gone, and he was still like, actually, I think here he was still reacting in that moment to like her kissing him. and then somebody's like, are you okay? Like, what's going on? Like, so you really don't know if she's invisible, if she's real, if she just disappeared really quick, because they're in a room with a lot of other people. So
And I'm not going to give away anything else, but I will say it definitely gets explored as the show progresses. So
that's
the
cool. Yeah, because watching just this, you don't know. I don't know.
right. And the other thing that was interesting, that this was changed in the miniseries. This miniseries, they refer to everybody believing into a single god. Was that a monotheist? Is that right? Monotheist culture, if I'm using that word right.
Hmm.
And later on, when the series comes on, they change it. So the humans in the TV series believe in multiple gods. I guess that's polytheist.
Yes.
And the Cylons believe in a single god. So it's an aspect that changed because in the miniseries they don't refer to multiple gods. It's something that they decide to change over. They never. It's something. It's like they changed what happened in the miniseries to the TV series. It's not a big deal, but it's kind of funny because they could get away with using swears where normally they wouldn't be able to say it. Like you can't say GD because it'll offend people. So they could say "God's damn it." So they could they could put add the S to the end of it. So they get away with a lot of funny sayings without having to worry about offending anybody, because you're not really, unless you believe in multiple gods, you're not offending anybody. So
Sure.
and but yeah, it's very obvious when the show comes on that the humans believe in multiple gods and the Cylons believe in a single god. So and as Head Six keeps on telling Baltar, and this I do believe she talks about God's vision or something. I think that she keeps on talking about. And of course, Baltar is a man of science, so he doesn't really believe in in any kind of religion. So it kind of conflicts with what he believes. So and that gets played out as the show progresses as well. So
Interesting.
so the end of the show. How did you feel about the score, the musical score? How did you feel about that? The
I thought it was pretty good. Yeah.
and that blew me. That musical score blew me. I actually bought the soundtrack for this because I liked it so much. So
Wow.
the one of the scenes in particular when they're having the final battle here where they're escaping through that cloud, it's just the music and the laying of the dead, they're showing the dead soldiers. It really captured the feel of the mood of the whole scene very well. It's just I couldn't believe how well it was. I can't remember the name of the composer. I should, but I don't remember off the top of my head. He didn't actually make it to the TV series. They switched to a different composer, but the second composer also maintained that same level of quality through the TV series as well. So, and then there's the famous speech where they go, "So say we all," where they're going. This is where he divulges his information about Earth, which he's actually pulling out of his butt. It's not real. Nobody really knows if Earth exists. It's actually all myth. So, and that's what the whole speech with Rosalind at the end was about, with him in the close quarters, saying, she's saying, we don't think Earth is real. And he said, yeah, but we got to give them something to believe in. They just can't go on existing. They have to have a reason to exist, basically. So, and of course, though, I'm not going to give anything away. The whole idea about Earth is explored as the series progresses. So,
Whoa. Yeah, that was like blew my mind.
so and one little character right here. One more thing I'd say. That little boy right there. Okay. In the original show, this character's name was Boxy. In the original show, Boxy was Apollo's son, adopted son. So in the original show, the mother, and his mother, Boxy's mother and Apollo get married, and so basically he becomes Apollo's son. In this show, Boxy, they didn't know what to do with him, so he's in this episode. He's in the miniseries, but eventually he's just written out, and no one knows whatever happens to him. So he just kind of fades away. He was a main
Kind of
character.
like, okay, we got this kid. What are we gonna do with him now?
And then the other problem was, of course, he's a kid, and the show took so long to produce. He got too old as it progressed anyway, so it was kind of hard to keep him in there because he was getting too old too quickly. So the show started this was 2003. The last episode aired in 2009, so that's like 6 years apart. So he would have been much older, and obviously there were not much time was passing between the episodes. So the other trivia is, and I didn't know this until I would listen to the DVD commentary at the very, very beginning. If I point this in here, right here, this man right here Watch. Oh, see if I can bring it up here. While he's waiting for the Cylons to come in, he's looking at some pictures here, right here. If you can see it here.
Yeah. Okay. Who is this guy?
That's what I was going to tell you. They don't tell you who it is because they cut it out. But in the DVD commentary, watch right here. Let's see if we show it. You can actually tell in a second. Oh wait, where is it?
Is it on? It's not, pictures on his desk.
Yeah, it's one of his pictures. Maybe it was on the desk. Let me go back a little bit here. Going
Because
backwards.
I remember him looking at the pictures. Yeah, he like sets them down.
Let me see.
Yeah, this was a good scene too. What opening was like, I also was like, I know this is from 2000 because the first thing that happens is a beautiful model just like makes out with a guy. I was like, that's a very like 2000s thing to do in movies. So,
And a lot of people condemned that at first because science fiction didn't do this kind of stuff. They didn't have a lot of sex and kissing like that, this gratuitous, so to speak. Oh, okay. There's the pictures. Let me see if I can. Here we go. Watch. I'm sure they're going to show it, right? No, they're not.
they do at some point. Come on, show it. Show the picture. We want to see it. It's like we're looking at a leaky faucet and we're waiting for the drip.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, by the way, that picture of the Cylon that's what the Cylons looked like from the original show, by the way. So
Okay. Because they haven't seen them in 40 years. They might look different.
yeah, in fact the Cylons from 40 years ago look like the Cylons from the original show. So and the
Yeah.
modern ones are different. Like the ones that walk in the hallway are they look similar, but
Right.
so okay, maybe.
Okay. I know they show these pictures. I know they do.
There we go. We're almost there.
But I did think this was interesting where they have like a neutral space.
Let's see. And every year, basically, as the captions say, they send a representative, and the Cylons send no one, and then this changes, and this is where the attack actually begins. There we go. Okay, that's Boxy on the left.
Oh, yep.
So
Boxy's like, oh, I think my dad's dead.
yeah, there's a line in the show where Boxy says his dad is missing. They don't know what happened to him, and so this is his dad basically. You're getting the full picture here is what's going on.
Wow, and maybe he just didn't look like that or something. I did not make that connection.
I didn't either. I only know that because I listened to the DVD commentary. So
they didn't. They chose not that they chose like one of those family pictures where the kid looks nothing like the picture.
Right. So, all right. So the end. We can go and wrap this up here. But the end of the show, you find out this guy's actually silent all along, and the famous line that's as everyone getting ready to go with their go about with their plan here. We see Sharon is that's divulged that she's a Cylon.
Ah!
And then there's a famous line that comes after this. Okay, right there. By your command. Okay. In the original show, the Cylons would always say by your command. They would always, it was a famous line. And so the reason they added this was because they gave a copy of the miniseries to be reviewed by somebody. And when the guy came back with his review, this was before it was actually aired, he said, nobody said by your command, because they said it all the time in the original show. So they added this line at the very end just to satisfy him and satisfy the audience because they wanted to show that they still say by your command. So
yeah, because everyone's probably waiting for it. Of like, when are they going to say it? And that's a really good line to end on because it's like, let's do this.
Yeah, and just so you know, in the original show, the Cylons were all mechanical. So there was one episode where they made a human Cylon, but it was kind of hokey and it was like kind of silly. So it was more robotic than anything else. But essentially, they were all mechanical, and they had another robotic Cylon that had like I remember how they. Hold on, I can show you. Yeah, can you hold on a second? I can show you what it looked like.
Yeah, well, I mean, like maybe science has advanced in 40 years. Where is it? is an like what is the term where it's like a human robot mix? It's not an android. There's like
Cyborg.
yeah, maybe there you've seen the show, so I don't, but maybe it's like a cyborg situation. Like am I
Here's what
right? Hot, cold.
this is another version right here. It had like a little pinhead right there. So some of the Cylons look like this in the original show too. So you can see in the background, there's one of the older looking Cylons, kind of there you go right there in the background. And then in the foreground, there's some of the Cylons had these little like pointed heads with like the little lights going through their little brain area. So,
Okay. Well,
but
I'm glad they did that.
yeah, they eliminated this one altogether. But you can see that the older ones in the background, they kind of modified those. So
Yeah.
give you an idea. So, but anyway, alrighty. So that's the show, and they purposely ended the show so that it would end like it was like a pilot, so that you would be enticed to watch more episodes. Even though when they made the show, they were not sure if it was going to be made into a series. The creators of the miniseries purposely made it this way, so with the hopes that people would be enticed to watch more episodes even if it wasn't made into a TV series. So the original miniseries was not confirmed yet when they first made it, so as to be a regular show. So how would you rate this show, this particular miniseries, I should say?
Well, I thought it was really well done. I think it was a really interesting, compelling story. We touched on a lot of points where it was tasteful, especially for the time period of the early 2000s, where they could have taken a lot of easy routes as far as like lots of sex or making gay jokes. I think it was very classy in that regard, and it made me want to watch more.
Oh, cool.
So, in my harsh rating system, which I don't think is very harsh, where 5 is an average, I'm gonna give this an 8.5.
Okay.
So that's
Yeah.
like high. It's definitely higher than like some of the things that I've really loved, like Death to Smoochie. I don't even think that was that high, and I loved that one. But I think it was a very well done piece of work.
Okay. I did want to touch on, before I forget, the baby scene. So
Oh yeah, I forgot. So I watched this scene last night, and I watched the back end of this today. What was up with this?
the baby, so number 6 here, when she saw the baby, she snapped the baby's neck. So, and then she walks away, and that's when the mother realizes the mother is dead. So for no reason, they don't give a reason as to why she kills the baby. She just does.
Okay,
So
so that's just to show that she's evil.
show that she's not understanding of life, I guess. I don't
Yeah,
know, it may be evil, but I don't. That could be a part of it. I think she was just curious about how life worked, more or less, as
that
how I
would make sense because she was so like curious about the baby.
right. And
That was crazy. I was like, she just killed the baby.
and the funny part is, on the DVD commentary, Ron Moore says that when this was going on, they were able to watch how many people were watching the episode when this occurred, and they said that the audience numbers dropped dramatically when this scene happened.
Wow,
And
people were really turned off by it.
and they said when the show came on the next night, they said, okay, we're going to get a drop in the ratings. The numbers actually increased for the second part when part 2 came on. So
Interesting.
so they thought this scene might have turned off. They did turn off a lot of people, but not enough to keep the viewers away. So, but anyway, I just thought I'd throw that in there. I would definitely give this a 9, up in the 9s, like maybe a 9.1 or 9.2 for me.
Yeah, see, we both are. I thought it was great, and I definitely think if you are someone who like is open to space settings, you would like this because I mean, like we said, it's more of a drama and the tracking of people and their activities than it is like a space war movie, because we don't really even see the Cylons that much. So we see like skirmishes and bits of fighting, but we don't see like war battles. And I thought all of the relationships people had with each other and the what was happening between them was really interesting alone. So I would definitely suggest anyone watching to check this out.
I
Even if
would.
you've never seen, because I've never seen any Battlestar Galactica, and I was like, oh, I'll give it a shot. But I'm really glad at Zoom's recommendation that I did. So thank you, Zoom.
You're welcome. Yeah. The one thing when I think when I said this when I first saw it, I did not expect this to be good. I just thought it was going to be a simple remake of the original show. And like I said, I was not a big fan of the original show. It was fun when I was a kid, but and it was like, okay, I'll just watch this. It'll be kind of cool. And then I was like, whoa, wait a minute, this is not what I expected at all. It was nothing. It blew me away. It was I kept on saying it was much better than the original, and that got I have a friend who's like, he's a big fan of the original. He got him upset because he didn't want to hear that. But I was like, yeah, I couldn't believe how I'm repeating myself, but how much better it was. So
Yeah, I was impressed. I was very impressed. So go watch this.
Alrighty, well, let's go ahead and bring up our question here. We got a pretty decent response so far. 62 votes. No comments yet. Based on the show Battlestar Galactica, how would you live your life on a spaceship? 87% overwhelmingly want to be a fighter pilot.
We are all the main character in our own life story.
Only 5% would be a grunt, but that's the next one down. Let's see. We got a tie at 3% with being in a command position or living or having a civilian job, and 2% with avoiding responsibility and risk.
Hey, I'm one of those 2%. I'd be hiding in every corner. They would be like, Where's Tina? Where is she? Get her over here." And then they would have to like I'd be like hiding in like a basket of like dirty towels of like, do they see me? Like anybody? And then like hide. They would never find me.
So the I let's see. Well, I don't wouldn't be a fighter pilot. I don't know. I might actually join you with that part too. I think. Just
I'm not gonna die on a spaceship. I'm gonna survive. Thank you.
hopefully you're not part of the crew that was blown into space when they had the firefighters there. So
Oh my god, that was so sad too. I know, what bad luck, right? They were just wrong place, wrong time.
uh alrighty.
But
So did you want to add anything else to that?
nope, I think we covered everything. I just am really happy that we discussed this movie.
Cool. Alrighty. Well, thanks everybody, and thanks for participating in the poll. And we'll see you next week.